president of Self Advocates ADEC and podcast host. Welcome to another episode of our monthly podcast, Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. Welcome back, everyone. This is Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. I am your host, Emily, and today I am going to be talking about and reflecting how much this podcast has changed over these past 2 years and that I've learned about podcasting or about myself, and we're introducing a guest. And in the past 2 years, what I've learned about myself is that I tend to think more negatively about myself than I like to admit. But I do like to go it's kind of like rock climbing, except it's more like freebasing in a way. I'm not actually like on rocks. It's like a bouldering. And it's like a freelance rock climbing, except it's indoor and there's pads. And in the past 2 years, I realized I like this show called Gilmore Girls and Outer Banks. What I learned about advocacy is that within advocacy, speaking for yourself is just as important as speaking out for others. Because of course, yes, speaking out for others is great, but how can you speak out for others when you don't know how to speak out for yourself? You gotta be able to know how to do that first, so you can speak out for others in a way that helps, that works. And what in the past 2 years, what I learned about disabilities is, regardless of how different everybody's disabilities are, doesn't mean they don't have abilities. And what I've learned about podcasting in general, well, at this point, I know how to host a podcast now. Some things that I've changed since the first podcast episode we did is the studio has changed, the microphones have changed. Instead of doing wireless microphones, we now actually have professional podcast microphones. And how I talk to people has changed as well, as being able to turn on my mind and to fully engage in conversations more. My favorite podcast episode that we've talked about, I would probably say, is Ninja Go, when I've talked Halloween with Mark McGill, our first year anniversary podcast episode, but also the one with Yuri and Chris. Some things I would like to talk about more on the podcast is how I could connect pop culture with advocacy, which I feel like I already do anyway. I'm ready for the end of 2024's ribbon cutting ceremony reopening for the hub and plaza in a different building. I can't wait to continue to do the podcast more, even after I move out of my parents' house. And ADEC has a new job. They have a new position, which I think is really, really cool. The new position that they have here is an advocate volunteer specialist. And today, we get to talk to one. Everybody, I want to introduce a very fun person, Beth Bergen.
Thanks, Emily. Yep, I am the new advocate and volunteer specialist here at ADEC, and I'm just really excited to be a part of the team and be able to be with the self advocates.
Great. So, Beth, what exactly do you do?
So I have a couple of things that I'll be working with and on. I will be with all the Self Advocates Club, um, doing the monthly meetings, any things that we decide to do in those meetings. I'll be I'll be coordinating, not helping. I'll be coordinating the Silver Bullets this year. And then the activity calendar that's going to be going out to everybody in ADEC so that we can have fun things to do out in the community. And then when our volunteers come in, I'll be coordinating where they go and making sure that they're having fun volunteering as well.
That's great. I'm glad you're on the team.
Me too. I'm really excited about it. It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of learning, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. I bet it will be a lot of learning. So what's it like being a part of the team?
This is my first week out of training, so we're on day 3 of out of training, and the team is really welcoming. I feel like our team is really, really cool and awesome. So, yeah, they're just training me on what I need to do, learning the different areas I've got to go to. This today, I get to go and tour some more day programs and see more individuals, and I'm just really excited about it. So with self advocacy, what is one of the things that you're looking forward to with the club starting up once a month again?
Um, like events. We like to do like certain events together. We like to help with the funding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's all stuff I get to learn at the first meeting that we have. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Is there anything new that you want to bring up with it starting up the club meeting again?
Um, I think we're gonna go to the ribbon cutting for the new building that's opening.
Yeah, that would be awesome to have you guys there. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it would.
So you,
That'd be
as the
great.
president, do you help them who people decide who's going to go, or they just say, "Hey, I'm going to be there"?
It's it's just sometimes like it depends. A
Okay,
lot of the time, it really. I always gotta check my schedule to see if I can go.
that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, but also I would like to go if I can.
Okay, so you need more communication on that as it gets closer
Mainly with my dad. Yes.
with your dad. Okay. Isn't it great how we have peer supports or family supports
Yeah.
or staff supports that help get us to the areas that we need to get to in our lives? Like, that's pretty awesome to have all of these supports that we have in our lives.
Yeah, I agree. And hopefully, and I know a lot of the time, some people like have a rougher situation with peer support.
Yeah, that happens. You sometimes, and it's a sad situation when, you're in a supportive living environment and you've moved and you can't get to your friends that you had before. But um, so the FaceTiming or calling on the phone really, really helps with that time. And then the planning, that goes into making sure that we can see our friends and our peers is really important, and that's a part of being an advocate for ourselves, right? Is letting
Yeah.
our staff, our dad, anyone that can take us, letting them know how important it is to make sure that we can get to see them and live our lives as best as we want to.
Yeah.
And that's what my position's all about with working with you guys, right?
That's great.
Yeah. Is there any topics that you want to discuss at the meetings that I could start doing some research on so we can, when we start the meetings up, we can just have it rolling?
Uh, for the meetings, what you might need to know. I promise you, once you get in, everyone is gonna want to meet you.
I know I plan that first meeting is going to be a meet and greet. Probably a
Yeah.
lot of questions, getting to know who I am, getting to know who everybody else is, just probably a big, just everybody hanging out. But then we got to get to business because we've got things
Yeah.
we want to do, don't we?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Making sure we're having the right funding in to help support the areas we want to support. We all have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you said, like we do help fund certain like businesses that we want to support.
Yeah, that's great.
That
Reaching out back out to the community is
yeah.
an awesome thing to do because the community helps us out a lot. So if we can give back, that's where it all begins.
Yeah, I completely agree. This has been Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Beth, for coming.
Thank you, Emily, for having me.
This is Emily signing off. Thanks for tuning in and hearing from your neighbors with disabilities. Check out next month's podcast for a new guest and topic. I am Emily, host of Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. See you next month.